We tend to treat our minds like this total black box, some mysterious force that we can't really control. But what if it isn't a mystery at all? What if it's much more like an operating system with its own code, its own processes, and get this, its very own user manual? Well, today we're going to open that manual. Let's dive in. Have you ever felt like you're just a passenger in your own head? Like your moods, your reactions, they're all on autopilot, and you're just kind of along for the ride. It feels like some hidden program is just hogging all your mental bandwidth, leaving you with the leftovers. So the real question is, what's actually running the show in there? To find an answer, we're going to look at an ancient piece of code from the Pali language, Cittānupassanā. Now, I know what you're thinking, that sounds really complicated. But trust me, when you translate it for the 21st century, it becomes one of the most practical user manuals for the mind you could ever imagine. Let's break it down together. So, the first piece of the puzzle is C. This comes from a root word that means to accumulate or to collect. I want you to think of it like your mind's hard drive. It's this vast, ever-growing collection of every experience, every impression, every little bit of data you've ever come across, all stacked up in layers. Okay, next up, we have Pitta. And this is all about manifestation. This is that kind of magic moment where all that data that's been accumulating from Kasi gets processed, it gets activated, and it becomes your current state of mind. It's the engine turning all that past data into your present reality. And finally, we have Anupassana, which is an action. It's a verb. It means to continuously observe. This is the actual skill we're talking about. It's the practice of tracking this whole process as it happens, in real time, watching your data become your present moment, without getting completely swept away by it. So you put it all together, and Cittānupassanā isn't some mystical, far-out concept. Not at all. It's basically a system diagnostic. In our modern language, it just means this: continuously tracking the operational status of the currently manifested data stack. You're just checking how the system is performing. And this tiny shift in perspective? It's an absolute game changer. It means we can stop getting bogged down in that huge, heavy, existential question, who am I? And instead we can start asking a much more practical, technical one. What mode is my system running in right now? Thinking this way unlocks some surprisingly powerful tools for our mental toolkit. And maybe the most intuitive one is to stop thinking of your mind as this mysterious void and start seeing it like your computer's task manager. Oh man, we have all been there, right? Your brain feels like it's running through mud. You're sluggish, you feel completely overwhelmed, and your focus is just gone. It's a classic case of system overload. Now, when your laptop slows to a crawl, what's the very first thing you do? You don't get mad at it, right? You don't think it's a bad computer. You open the task manager or the activity monitor to see what's going on. You look at the data. Well, just imagine doing the same for your mind. You'd pop open your internal activity monitor and see it right there, clear as day. A process called anger.exe has gone totally rogue. It's eating up 92% of your mental CPU, leaving almost nothing for things like focus or calm. It's just one program, but it's crashing the entire system. So here's the crucial bit. The goal completely shifts away from self-judgment and toward objective diagnosis. Instead of getting stuck in that useless loop of asking, why am I like this? You just read the system log. Okay, the greed process is currently running. That's it. That's the observation. And the task manager is really just the beginning. Let's run through a few more tools for your mental dashboard that'll make this whole idea even more concrete and useful in your day-to-day life. First up, think of your moods like camera filters. You apply a gloom filter on your phone, and suddenly the whole world looks bleak and colorless and hostile. Now, you might mistake that filtered image for reality, but anyone who knows their way around a camera knows it's just a temporary overlay. So you don't have to be a prisoner of these mental filters. The first step to breaking free is just to notice them. Simply by acknowledging, I see what's happening, the depression filter is active right now. In that moment, you start to see beyond the illusion. Or how about this one? A pilot's attitude indicator. When a pilot's flying through dense clouds, their physical sense of which way is up can be completely wrong. They might feel like they're flying level when they're actually in a steep dive. So what do? They learn to ignore that feeling and trust their instruments. Our emotions can be just as disorienting. What if we had an internal gauge like that? So instead of getting lost in the overwhelming feeling of being angry, we could just read the instrument panel. System is tilted 45 degrees left, state angry. See? It turns a confusing, subjective feeling into clear, objective data. And one last one, think of your mind like a smartphone with different power modes. Some days you're in low power mode, kind of withdrawn, conserving energy. Other times you're in a stable, balanced mode. And then on those great days, you're in high performance mode, totally energized. These are just different operational profiles. They're not your core identity. So what do all of these analogies, the task manager, the filter, the gauge, what do they all have in common? Well, they all point to one really profound, super empowering conclusion. A conclusion that lets you finally start debugging your own mental system. Here's the core problem. The one big mistake we all make. We mistake a temporary software state for a permanent hardware specification. We take a program that's just running for a little while, like anger or sadness, and we treat it like it's been etched into our circuit board forever. We let it define who we are. The key is to always remember this. You are the hardware, not the software. Your feelings, your moods, your mental states, they're just temporary programs. They can be started, they can be stopped, and yeah, they can even be updated. Anger is just an app. It is not a feature of your motherboard. And this simple act of observation, it is incredibly liberating. The moment you see anger is present as just a process that's running, you detach it from your identity. You're not an angry person. You're just a user running some buggy software. And we all know the first step to fixing a bug is always to observe it. This gives you the freedom to act, not just react. So, I'm going to leave you with this. A little challenge. Take a moment, right now, pop open your internal task manager and just check the logs. No judgment, no big story, just a simple, curious question. What program is your mind running right now?